Hey everyone, welcome to HR Tech Talks. I'm Ben Eubanks, your host, and goodness, I'm so glad to have you here. It's going to be a great conversation. One-way dialogue today, but maybe our very last one ever in terms of the one way. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, welcome. I'm glad to have you here for HR Tech Talks. It's going to be. I'm so excited to unveil the winners of the 2020 HR Technology Awards. So, this is going to be a great show. We are This is our first official episode, I guess. Last week we had a little teaser explaining what to expect, what the show's going to be about. So if you missed that, I'll give you the very brief, the Cliff's Notes of that. To put it briefly, as an HR technology analyst, I have a chance to talk to hundreds of vendors in the HR and talent and learning space every year, and it is one of the best parts of my job. I get to see the amazing technologies that are helping employers to be more human, to be more tailored, to be more personalized and supportive of their people. And that excites me about the future of the work that we get to do. The problem is you don't get the benefit of any of that hardly. I write about it, I share about it in some forums, but I'm hoping that HR Tech Talks becomes a way to share some of those stories more directly with you, talking to different providers, explaining what they're doing, and digging into the capabilities that make them work. And the technology will be the focus, the companies will be the focus. As we go through today, you'll see some of the why behind that, behind how we put the awards together. You'll see some of the insights about why this show is going to be a part of what we do going forward. So as I mentioned, today I'm really excited to launch and to use the launch of HR Tech Talks to talk about the HR Tech Awards, the winners of this first year's program put on by Lighthouse Research and Advisory. We organized it, we ran it, we had a team of judges. I'll talk about them in just a moment, but we are so excited about sharing what is happening out there. What the capabilities are, what the systems are that we need to know about. So it was a lot of fun for our team to put that together and to help people see what those capabilities are that don't spend every day in the trenches like I get to. So it was a ton of fun. We wanted to be a little more transparent with this awards program. We want to talk about why the companies were chosen, what things the judges liked. And so we're going to do that today as we go through and name these winners. I'm going to give you a little insight, a little snippet into some of the things the judges thought were appealing or interesting about each of them. So let's dive into the judging process. I want to give you this before we go on. I mentioned transparency, and this is available on the website. Before we started it, all of the entrants knew that this was what we we're going to judge them on, and this is what I want to share with you now so you understand how these companies ended up winning. So we had dozens of entries, companies submitting in June. And what's interesting is we had planned a deadline of May for all of this. And then, as we all know, the world kind of blew up in the April-May timeframe. And so we had several providers reach out and say, hey, we actually would love to do this, but we can't quite get in. We can't make the timeline work because we're serving people in the community right now. So we extended that deadline out, allowed them to a little more extra time to get their entries in, and had a couple dozen entries come in by the time we shut that down. We picked this panel of independent judges to go through and look at those different entries, and they were looking for specific things. This wasn't just oh, they've got a cool logo, let's go with them, but it was very specific. So these were the things we're looking for. Number one, what is the problem the technology solves? I'm going to tell you something. It sounds kind of silly, but it's true. I see a lot of companies come to market, new companies that are a solution in search of a problem. Let me give you an example of that. So if you ever go to one of the big technology conferences in our space, everyone wants to come at you and say, hey, we've got an AI solution for HR. And the problem is there's not a buyer there that says, I've got a problem and I need some AI to solve it. No, they've got a problem with hiring the right people or engaging their remote teams, or they've got issues with tracking the skills of their people. They've got problems with how to just pay people on time and accurately. Right? All these core blocking and tackling, these real problems that HR professionals have. So they've got to understand the problem they're solving really specifically. We put the heaviest weight on an actual case study. Tell me the story of a customer, how they've used this, what's been their results. And that was the thing we really emphasized is we want to see the results. We want to understand this. So when we start publishing some of the entries and sharing them more publicly, we can't tell you the names of all those companies, but they did tell our judges who those companies were and who they were serving, and gave us all the nitty-gritty details there so that we could make some accurate decisions on who's really doing a good job. We looked at a demo. We got to see the actual product. You can tell me all the things you want to tell me. You can put together some pretty PowerPoint slides, but we need to put our hands on this product and figure out, can it do what you say it is? If you tell us it's intuitive, can we see and feel and experience? Yes, it's intuitive. And that was one of the fun things. Some of our people were like, we're not using anything quite this modern in our workplace. And so they were a little bit, maybe a little bit sad going back to their own companies after finishing this judging and getting to see some of the new and interesting things that are happening in our space. That was funny for me, probably sad for them a little bit. We're looking for, as well, key differentiators. What are the things that set you apart? Yes, there are 1,000 payroll companies out there, but why are you special? What do you do differently? Or there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of companies that serve the talent acquisition space. But what specific area do you serve? What problem do you solve? And how do you do that? What are the differentiators you have that make you different from the other companies that all claim to be the exact same thing that you are? And last but not least, we looked at the company behind the technology. What are they doing? What are their capabilities? What is that company like? How do they treat their people? I don't know if you have ever thought about this, but if I built a company in the HR technology space to serve the HR audience and we don't treat our employees very well, they're not going to treat you very well as a customer. They're not going to care about the problem you're trying to solve. They're going to do the minimum amount they can do and get away with instead of trying to go above and beyond and serve us as HR leaders as we're trying to get our jobs done. So we want to look at them behind the company. How do you treat your people? How do you integrate and support the community? How do you do things beyond your four walls? It's not all about the software. It's not all about the profitability. It's about other things and how you do that. So it was fun to see the companies that are very established and what they're doing. The companies that are startups are like, hey, we only have this much bandwidth, but here's how we're still allocating that to supporting our people and supporting the community. It was a lot of fun to see all the good that's being done in the world right now by these kind of companies. So, all that said, we're going to start getting into these award winners featured below. They're alphabetical, so there's no best or worst. We're not picking those. We winnowed out, narrowed down, pulled out the companies that we thought didn't really have a good business case, the companies that didn't really have a strong case study, the ones that put together a demo that was lacking. We tried to pull out the ones that didn't fit the bill so we could highlight and emphasize those ones that really, really did a great job here. So congratulations in advance, and I'll do it again at the end, to all these winners that we're about to celebrate and show off in the next few minutes. I just want to say I'm excited to share these with all of you. And again, I'm going to tell you a story, an example, something our judges found intriguing and interesting about each of these. So without further ado, let's push them up full screen. And here we go. So first up, 15.5, they won for talent management best SMB focused solution, and they are doing really great work around performance and talent management. One of our reviewers said, or our judges said, that they loved this term that 15.5 uses called a best self review. This idea of being able to understand your best self, what you bring to the table, and how that's different and unique from everybody else. All of us have a unique best self. And so one of them thought that was a really intriguing way of putting it and a great emphasis for all of performance management, right? To think about that. It's fun. Our research actually backs that up, but it's fun to see someone that said, I never thought about it that way. And that really struck them as they were looking at the entry and trying to make a judge there. So congrats, 15.5. Degreed won an award. Their award is for best comprehensive solution in learning. And one of the judges said that this is one of those examples I said earlier where they're not using tools quite as advanced. They said, if I had this kind of tool to measure and understand the skills of the people inside my business, it would change everything for us. They were pretty amazed at those capabilities. Obviously, one of the other comments was really great user experience. It's so easy to use, and it makes it easy because this is one of the tools that pushes out to learners, to allow learners to consume information and to learn kind of on their own. And all that information, though, all that data on what they're learning is rolled up to a leadership level so you can understand what they're doing. And because it's rolled up, one of the things one of our other judges said, he was kind of our business-minded, this has got to impact the business or it doesn't matter. He was excited because the roll-up is not just about, well, this drives learning satisfaction. He was looking for actual business outcomes, and he was excited to see that they're trying to tie the learning to performance, succession, how people move up in the business, and other kinds of quantifiable outcomes that matter to the business. So that was a really great job, Degreed. Congratulations to you. Fuel 50. Talent management, best comprehensive solution. They did really good work there, and we've been impressed watching them lately with what's happened even outside the awards program. They've been doing a lot of work to develop and support employers in the midst of the kind of COVID, the challenging world we're in right now. One of their new releases is around this thing called Fuel Futures, which lets people figure out what their next opportunity is in the midst of all this chaos around us. People can look at what the opportunities are, what their future looks like, and understand how their skills map to those things. And so I love that approach. The technology started out years ago. Fuel 50 was about just helping you figure out what your next career is, just career mobility. And that was the focus of the platform. And it's extended so much farther than that now to let you validate the skills of your people. It was just really, really great. One of the other judges told us that he was excited to see a tool that was employee driven and employee focused, not just focused on us as the admins or us as the leaders implementing the system, just rolling up data for us, but it was really focused on the actual users themselves. They were excited by that. Next up, our first one in the talent acquisition space, Hiring Solved, got an award for Best Innovative or Emerging Tech Solution. We had a lot of entries in talent acquisition. I said that earlier, is kind of joking, kind of not. There are so many companies serving that space, and we had a lot of entries in that space, and we tried to really winnow it down, narrow it down to just the ones that were really doing unique and special things. And so Hiring Solved is one of those. One of the things that one judge told us is he said, I feel like I have more data on external candidates, but I just don't have a way to sift through that and understand that and dig into that. And so he was excited to see the kind of work that Hiring Solved is doing, because it allows you to see all the capabilities, all the skills, all the talent profiles of people that have been in your ecosystem, and allows you to search them in a more granular way and really speeds up that process. They had a phenomenal case study in there. So they're doing good work. Congrats to the Hiring Solved team. Next up, not First Learning Solution, sorry, actually. Learning, Best Innovative or Emerging Tech. LeadX is doing good work here. One of the things that the judges really appreciated about them is, so this solution actually is a personalized coach that uses a chatbot AI to engage with different people and coach and support them on a personal level. And the coaches, or the judges, said this was incredible because one of the challenges HR and talent leaders often have is we would love to spend more time coaching and growing our leaders. But the problem is it's really hard to scale that up. You can do that for a handful of people, but you couldn't do that for 50 or 100 people at once. Well, this tool can do that. And so the judges were saying, like, this could scale. This could be amazing to see the impact on the business if all of your leaders were performing at a higher level because of this. They have doing some good work there. So congrats to the LeadX team for what they're doing. Equilibrium. This is, I don't want to give them a tagline, but they're probably okay with it. It's about resilience, the app for resilience. And for a long time, one of our judges actually wrote this really long explanation for why they like this so much. But she said, one of my default things when an employee had an issue was call the EAP, call the Employee Assistance Program. And that's what we've always done in HR. Someone's got an issue, call the EAP. And the problem is we all know that there's a very low utilization rate, often the single digits, if that high. There's not many people that use it, and it doesn't lead to very many positive outcomes. It's just this, hey, call and maybe you'll get some help out of that. It doesn't solve the root issue. It doesn't help identify the root issue. It doesn't tailor the solution to the individual. And so the judging team, and especially this lady that I mentioned here, she said that the deep insights that she could see there in the dashboard, the things you could get out of that were especially timely right now with the COVID crisis. Because she said, if I could see the anxiety of my team, if I could see how many people are feeling burnout or have symptoms of clinical depression, to have those insights at a dashboard right in front of you to understand how to take care of your people, they were really stunned by that. So congratulations to Equilibrium for the good work they're doing. The Modern Hire team, talent acquisition, best comprehensive solution. They're doing great work serving the enterprise market. One of the things that our judging panel really liked about Modern Hire is they looked at, most of the other talent acquisition winners here, nothing wrong with this, but they talked about things like speeding up time to hire and trying to reduce the cost per hire, things like that. Modern Hire actually we're looking at the quality of hire. So they looked at the cost of turnover, reduced turnover, as a savings measure, because they're focused on helping you get the best hire, not just a faster one. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. We have great winners that are solving that other problem. But I thought that was a great way of looking at it. And they got some really good positive feedback across the board from the judges. And actually I had a chance, coincidentally, to talk to one of the customers as this summer as part of this bigger process, and got a chance to actually engage with them, and they were really excited about the partnership with Modern Hire. So it's been fun to see those little touch points kind of come together and create this bigger picture that is not just a nice awards entry form, but the actual customers are really, really happy with what they're getting as well. Congrats to Modern Hire team. Next up, we have Namely. Core HR workforce. They have an SMB focused solution. So if you're not familiar with Namely, they are a little bit newer in the market. I don't want to say they're new because they've been around for several years and they're doing good work. They've got hundreds of customers, and they are serving those companies that are just growing past doing payroll in-house or growing past just outsourcing the whole thing and looking for a way to incorporate a piece of technology to solve that problem. And so it's been fun to see their evolution as a company. And one of the things that our judges said, they actually have a lot of experience working for mid-sized and smaller businesses. They said they have a set of state compliance tools. So with a few clicks, you can see we have operations in these 3 or 4 states, and it will tell you the specific things you have to do to make sure you're compliant in those areas. That person said that would have changed their whole world because they spent weeks trying to figure those things out and working with their attorneys and working with their accountants, and to have them all right there in one dashboard was really exciting for them. So sometimes it's the little things in life that matter, and for Namely, those little things led to a big award. So congratulations to the team. Paradox won one here. Paradox is doing really great work. They won for Best Innovative or Emerging Tech, and they have a phenomenal chatbot that they built called Olivia that's serving the talent acquisition market. They serve a lot of really large employers. They do mid-size as well, but they serve a lot of amazing name brands, and their metrics were pretty incredible. So one of them that stuck out that the judge highlighted and circled and underlined and was just blown away by, because they do a lot of interviewing at that judge's workplace. He said 75% of the interviews that are using this chatbot are actually scheduled that day. The day that the conversation starts, the interviews are set up that day. So there's no, okay, we set an interview for 3 weeks from now, we'll get back to you on that, but it's going to happen within 24 hours. So you can quickly make a decision, quickly move out. Lots of great other feedback on the system, on the platform. And I just want to say congrats to Paradox for doing good work and for having some amazing stories, amazing case studies. Their metrics are really, really positive. The team at Paychex is doing really good work as well. They won an award for Best SMB Focused Solution. They are serving hundreds of thousands of customers. And unfortunately, I've seen in the past where some companies, when they get that large, they're serving that many people, that they get kind of lax and laid back and they let things slide. And the Paychex team is continually pushing the envelope, developing, looking for new ways to pursue innovation in an area like payroll, which we think, okay, we've plumbed the depths of that. No, they're still doing good things there. They're rolling out new features and capabilities. And one of the things our team actually said, the same person that had worked for some small mid-sized businesses, they said that if they had access to, so Paychex has a network of 600 different certified HR professionals that you can just pick up the phone and call as part of your package if you're using their solution. And they said that alone was something that excited them, even outside the value of the technology, the capabilities of it, and what it can do. So it was fun to see putting the service in the software as a service. That person was really excited about that piece of what they're doing there. So congrats to Paychex for what you're doing and for your award. Phenom people. Actually, side note, Phenom hosted the very last conference I went to prior to all the COVID shutdowns and everything else. The last conference I got to, and got to see and interact with a lot of people, and that seems like 1,000 years ago now. They actually won an award for comprehensive solution for talent acquisition. They're doing some great work, and their case study, several of our judges were wowed by the case study they shared with us. Newell Brands is the company that has brands like Sharpie and Rubbermaid, some of those household names we're all familiar with. They all roll up under Newell Brands, and their story is impressive. There's a case study we'll make sure and share out after this is over with, but they've done some really great work with personalizing and tailoring the campaigns and how they interact with candidates across those different brands to engage them, to get the best conversation going, to find the right people, and to market to them actively so they can find the right job and bring them into the organization. So great case study, great story. They're doing great work on the technology side, and I'm so thankful that they submitted, because I was excited to see their good work. SHL, we've got a couple more here before we wrap up. SHL won an award. they are an assessment company. They've been around for a period of time, but they are still innovating and doing good work. One of our judges said, oh, great, assessments. And then they got in and actually saw how you interact, the kind of capabilities that the tools had, and they were blown away. This is nothing like the assessment I expected. I expected, the multiple choice questions and everything else. It was actually a video interview that allows a reviewer to timestamp certain things. So if I'm watching a video interview that you've recorded and you say something that's particularly compelling, I can make a note there like, oh, this is a great example of leadership, and it timestamps that. So if a second reviewer comes in, they can click those timestamps and jump right to those points in the conversation to see what you were saying and those examples that tie in with the concepts we're actually evaluating a candidate on. So they were blown away by some of those capabilities, and I was really excited to see that. So congratulations to SHL for your best innovative and emerging tech solution. I'll be honest with you, when I saw the Springbuck name come across, I was not familiar with the work they had done. And so one of our other judges actually sent me a note and said, hey, did they spell their name incorrectly? I was like, no, we double checked that. Springbuck is doing good work. I'm kidding. Springbuck is doing good work, though. It's very serious. They're actually serving the HR, the workforce market. Some of their capabilities, their main focus is around just benefits, insurance, financial information around that. Let me give you an example. So one of the tools that they've rolled out in the last few months, relevant, topical, timely, is around identify COVID risk factors in your workforce, trying to figure out which factors might be there that would increase the risk and increase the potential exposure of your people. So that's what I mean by they're serving that sort of wellness space. One of the things that our judge actually wrote this down and said, like, I want to know more about this, because they allow you in the analytics behind the solution when you're looking and digging into the actual data and what your reports are, things like that. You can see when you've done different interventions from a wellness standpoint, and you can balance those against what the business impacts are. So how are those things we're doing affecting other actual business outcomes? And is there a relation? Is there a causality there? Are those things actually making an impact? Because I know one of the struggles we have when we talk to companies that are trying to do things in that wellness, well-being space is, sounds great, sounds positive, but is it actually solving a real problem? Is it actually making an impact, or are we just throwing good money after bad? And so they allow you to see the actual impacts, what's solving a problem, and how it's doing that. So incredible, good work to the Springbuck team, and congratulations on your award. Ultimate Software won an award for Best Comprehensive Solution in the Core HR and Workforce category. And our judges, again, one of those things that you expect a kind of HR or payroll company to be kind of stodgy. It's just not very excited, not very innovative. And one of the things that Ultimate's done in the last few years is go really heavy and hard on the AI side. Not like I talked about earlier, where they're like, hey, we've got some AI for you, but would you like this AI embedded into how we look at the talent in the business, how we respond to the issues that people have in the business? And they're weaving it into some really practical use cases. How can we help leaders have the right, understand the right action items to go and make a better impact on their team? So Ultimate's doing good work there. That was so incredible to see. One of the judges said they wish they could have the mobile app that Ultimate has, because they've done a good job of developing on the mobile side, so that when your people need to check their pay stub, they need to clock in, they need to do any of those kind of things on a mobile front, they're all accessible there. So they're really excited to see. Vizier won. We've got two more after this. So Vizier won an award. They are doing really great work in analytics. When someone says analytics, they're the first name I think of in the market. And not just analytics, but actually on the business impact. I'm really excited to see what they're doing. And it's so much fun to watch their product continue to evolve, continue to grow. I told you earlier, one of our judges is really focused on the business impact. They have very little interest in us measuring engagement unless we're tying it back to profitability or safety or some other measure that the business cares about. So they said, if someone says business impact, I'm going to put the screws to them and make sure they are doing the right thing. This person was really excited and blown away by the kind of reporting, the kind of data that you can get out of Vizier, the capabilities, what they're doing there. And sorry, look, I lost my place here. One of the other things I was going to say is they actually enable talent leaders to go beyond HR metrics to answer the actual questions that the business brings. Like, what is the cost of this going to be? How can we affect quality? How can we support, improve sales? And they can back those things into actual HR data. And it's really exciting to see how they're becoming kind of an operating system for the business, enabling the business to answer questions through the biggest resource they have, which is the talent. It's really, really exciting. And congratulations to the team. Great, great work. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Waggle won the award for talent management, best innovative or emerging tech. They're doing great work on the side of engagement. So we've all seen a bunch of the employee feedback tools, survey tools, things like that. One of the things that Waggle did that the judging team thought was exciting was they have a kind of an always on engagement strategy. So instead of asking you and then waiting 12 months later to ask you how we're doing, we all know that measuring something once a year is not going to lead to actual improvements. It's not going to lead to better outcomes. And so they actually have kind of an always on strategy. So you can continually be checking in, listening to the people, figuring out what the problems are, understanding their issues, and hopefully solving those issues before they spiral out of hand. And one of the things that in Waggle's kind of focus on the market and how they approach things that one of the other judges likes is that it's not just about gathering a bunch of feedback. We've been told that gathering feedback is the answer, and that's not the answer, because gathering feedback doesn't actually solve any problems. But their focus is, let us gather feedback so we can help you to improve engagement, to improve and solve those problems that actually matter. And so that was exciting to see that connection, that tie there. All right, last but not least, Zor is a chatbot in the recruiting talent acquisition space. They're doing great work, and it's been so much fun to see them emerge as kind of a player in the bigger picture. In the last year or so, I had a chance to talk to them about a year ago just to do an intro with them and connect to them, and they've been steadily advancing in terms of the technology, what it can do, but also the customers they're supporting. They had an amazing case study of a Fortune 100 company in their entry. Again, we can't tell who that is. That's not allowed, but they had this phenomenal case study of a Fortune 100 company that they're serving right now. And that case study, the outcomes were tremendous. One of the things that the judging team thought was really interesting about this is we hear about these chatbots, and we have kind of a mixed emotion about, do I hand this off and let the chatbot do it? Should a recruiter be doing some of these things? How do we balance that out? And one of the flexibility pieces of their platform is you can pick. You can say, I want this to be recruiter only, keep the chatbot out. I want the chatbot only. Let's automate all these things. Or we can say, I want this to be chatbot led, but let's pass it off to a recruiter when it gets to a certain stage so we can make it more human. Or let's have this recruiter led until we make sure we got the right one, and then have a chatbot carry it from there. So there's a couple different ways to configure it. And they were excited to see that flexibility so that it's not about losing the human in the process, but emphasizing the human at the right points. So tremendous job, and congrats to all of those winners for what they're doing there. We ran out of letters in the alphabet if you're looking at that. So I know we didn't have any more space there. All right, let's probably back up for just one more second. So please join me in congratulating these providers for what they're doing to serve the community. It is amazing work. It is so exciting to see. And we're going to be highlighting these companies in the next few months. We're going to have them here on HR Tech Talks. We're going to be talking to a couple different companies at a time and letting you hear some of the stories behind these, not just the awards, but the companies themselves, who they're serving, what they're doing, why they do it, right? Why do we get up every day? What are we excited about? So we're going to try to dig into some of those kind of things and understand that here. If you have an idea, by the way, for a vendor that you're like, hey, we've used this company, we love them, or I'd love to know more about that company because I heard about them in the news, or any of those kind of things, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn, ping me, let me know. I'm happy to consider that. We'll try to get them into the queue because we're talking to a lot of firms in the next year. If we keep on the schedule we've got set out, we'll talk to 50 people, 50 different companies, at least in the next year, to understand what they're doing and how they're serving this community, and hopefully getting all of us a little more well-rounded in terms of what we understand about who they're serving, what the capabilities are, things like that. So, and as I said at the very beginning today, this is not going to be a common thing where I'm talking on the stage myself. I don't love that. I would love to find an opportunity to bring in these companies. So it will not be me again. So I hope you put up with this one today, because we had the awards announcement. That was kind of a special case. Going beyond this, we'll be going with more of a conversational style, more fireside chat conversations to dig into what's going on there. So I hope you've enjoyed this discussion today. I hope you take a second, give a shout out to these amazing providers that they've won these awards. If you're looking for tools, you're looking for technology right now, give them a look. Take a few minutes to check them out. And as always, you can sign up at hrtechtalks.org if you want to get notified of new episodes. You want to stay in the loop, up your own game when it comes to HR technology and what it can do. Hope you have a great week. Make it a great one.